Talk about engagement and collaboration. I know that we have already a lot of really great tools around public engagement, and we're fortunate now to have public engagement staff in the district. That hasn't always been the case. They do really great work. There's a public engagement training that's coming up. That'll be open to some staff, right? Okay. Yeah, there's a public engagement training coming up. There's a really great handbook, lots of great resources I encourage you to check out. I wanted to highlight a couple other resources that folks might not have heard about or be as familiar with. One of those is MnDOT's Community Conversations Engagement Project. This came out of the transportation equity effort through the Office of Transportation System Management, where they supported having a consultant go out in every district, have conversations with community organization representatives to understand what are the needs in our communities, especially when it comes to transportation, to help inform our equity work that's local specific, because we have different needs across the state. We have different types of people living in different areas. What I think a big takeaway here is this really aligns with the earlier public health slide, that it's not just about getting from point A to point B. These quotes, we see people talking about transportation is vital to the well-being of the community. Perception of safety that may be preventing some people from walking or biking, having to turn down opportunities because there's a reliable transportation. So I think this just really reinforces the needs of especially more vulnerable or underserved populations, and how we may not be able to solve all of the issues, but we can be a partner and part of that broader solution. So check those out if you haven't seen them, and check out the one for your district. Every district has that report printed or pulled together, and it's on the MnDOT webpage. I've also heard a lot from especially district planners that engagement to inform the project is most meaningful in years 5 to 8 of the project, before budget is set. And so looking at those projects and looking at who are we talking to, who are we not talking to, and how can we build in activities to get more feedback from folks that we traditionally don't hear from. One of the ways that I would suggest doing that is to tap into your local public health partners. And if this is something that is new for you or your district, I'm more than happy to help with that. I've been talking with the Department of Health, their statewide health improvement partnership program quite a bit. And this is a program that funds a coordinator in each county in Minnesota. It's a state funded program, and they work on one or all 3 of initiatives: Minnesota Moves, Minnesota Eats, and I forget what the other one is, what they labeled it, but it's tobacco cessation, stop smoking. So depending on the needs in the county and the expertise of the person, they might work on one of these or all 3 of these things, but there's funding available. So for example, I was talking to Mary, Safran, District 4, there's a SHIP partner who has a background in planning. They're set up a little bit differently. He exclusively works on active transportation. So he's really involved in those years 5 to 8 and garnering community support. I'll show an example in a minute. D3, we've been working to build relationships with partners in a couple of counties and pinpoint a couple of ways that they can get involved in either reviewing projects, supporting engagement, reviewing some of our planning efforts from their perspective. And their public health, that's where I was previous to MnDOT, and it was a striking difference when I came to MnDOT. The first meeting I went into, when I introduced myself, the reception was very different. So when I come in from public health, people, oh great, we're so glad you're here. Because if you're coming from public health, it's like, oh, it's a shared value. We know you're here to take care of us. And then sometimes, you come into the room, you're like, hey, I'm with the DOT. And oh boy, let me tell you what you're doing wrong. So sometimes it's helpful to have public health in the room. It demonstrates our commitment to it, and they're also able to make progress on some conversations a little bit faster than sometimes we are. They have some specific activities that they do that ties to Complete Streets and directly supports, and that's around like the culture building around walkability and bikeability. So they do have a contract where they have walkable community workshops every year and contract that work out. where they facilitate half-day workshops. It involves community members. They do a walk audit. They come up with action plans, and they often involve staff as well. But that can help with that reception, right? When we come in with projects and say, we want to put a roundabout in and add these other facilities. So they're really good partners. So a couple really brief examples. The Walkable Community Workshop in Atkin 2022, emailing with Steve, and we did have some staff that were involved with this. It wasn't Steve, but it sounds like the involvement was really beneficial in terms of being able to connect with partners that we traditionally haven't been able to connect with. And the group really focused on identifying action steps to make walking better. We came up with some action steps, and let me see, that supported some demonstration project activities. And, you know, I know that these can have their ups and downs. Sometimes we run into issues with having demonstration projects, and, you know, then we have to backtrack a little bit. Other times they're really successful, and it's kind of like the field walk. You know, giving people an opportunity to experience something when we're introducing change can really help with that acceptance, and it can also help inform some things that we might not have realized when we try it out in real life. So I think the work here has some potential to inform some reconstruction. I'm not sure where that's at, but overall help. And then Battle Lake, Mary knows all about this one. So this was a reconstruction, you know, I think very common for us to see where our highways, the small town Main Street. This was inspired by Alexandria's Complete Streets project. The city invited the SHIP coordinator in D4, his name is Patrick Hollister, to present at a city council meeting, and he's very energetic and very convincing. So I'm not surprised that shortly after that, they adopted a Complete Streets resolution. He helped support the development of a concept plan that the community did. So it was really something that they started from the ground up to really support. They wanted to really re-energize their downtown, bring more people to it, and garner more interest. And one aspect that really worked well for this project was the integration of public art. So they worked with, in the community, they had different themes for the sections along the project in terms of like what reflected their community identity. And that was brought into the benches, into the bike racks, which on the right-hand side, if the photo cuts it off, and on the bottom, that's actually a bike rack. Which I guess sometimes they've had to tell people they can put their bike there. But there's like an art alley, and it's just become something that they're really proud of. And when we've gone back and looked at the numbers, injury and property crashes on this section have been significantly reduced. And locally, they've said that all the changes have really helped with the visibility of people walking around. So just a few examples. Again, if you're interested in learning more about the SHIP program or connecting with local public health, let me know. That's something I encourage for all of our districts to build into their processes.